Hi, welcome to Stellar Yoga. I'm Estelle. Thank you so much for coming to join me on your mat today. Today's class will be an hour-long class inspired by the new season of spring, which we're entering. And we'll be using it to wake up our sense of connection with our body and to just pay really close attention to the sensations that we're feeling and finding new ways to do traditional movements that really work for where our bodies are today. What you'll need for this class is any kind of meditation cushion or bolster, which you can really easily put together if you have a couple of blankets folded up. Fold them pretty small, and you can stack them. And then you can maybe even add a pillow so that when you come to lie on top of them, we'll be placing them on our abdomen and lying on top of them, you still have a pretty good lift from the earth. You can do this by stacking up a couple towels, a couple blankets, adding a pillow in there, and a really easy way to make sure that that doesn't fall apart while you're using it or fall over is that you can just stuff all of those things in a single pillowcase. So if you have blankets, go ahead and fold them up now. Otherwise, you can use any kind of very firm cushion that will still give you a good lift from the earth. Then, of course, if you have sensitive knees and you want to have a blanket or something soft to put under your knees when we come to all fours, you can grab that. And that should be it. So once you're ready, come ahead and take a seat. You can sit on your bolster if that's comfortable to lift up your sitting bones a little bit. If you prefer to sit on the ground, feel free to do that. But I find that a lot of people appreciate a little bit of lift to help support their back. And once you've found a comfortable seat, go ahead and if you feel comfortable doing this, you can close your eyes or you can just take a soft, unfocused gaze a few feet in front of you. Take a moment to just find yourself in this moment. Coming down to sit on the earth. And try to just notice how you arrive on the mat today. What's going on in your mind? How is your body feeling? Emotionally, how do you arrive? And then decide what makes sense for you today in terms of an anchor so that you can really feel here in the present moment. That might be the attention to your breath, the sound it makes as it goes in and out, the feeling of your chest or your stomach rising and falling. It could also be your awareness of the sounds around you, maybe the ticking of a clock, chirping of birds, even the sound of cars driving by. You might also choose an anchor that is based on the feeling of your body against the earth. Whatever parts of your body are touching the ground or the bolster and feeling supported. Or you might even choose a sense of smell. Maybe you can smell fresh flowers nearby, or the scent of a candle, or dinner cooking on the stove. So any of those which make sense to you today, go ahead and anchor your presence in this moment by bringing your attention just to that thing. And allow that anchor to bring you to be here now, to feel here now. If you'd like, we can take one deep breath together, slowly filling up your low belly, up to your ribs, up to the very tops of your collarbones, and then letting it out through your mouth. And then to start our awakening today, bring your either hand just to the spot between your eyebrows, where in yoga philosophy your third eye resides. And just start making gentle circular pressure on that point. And then using both of your hands, start to make small, gentle pressure, little circles along your top eyebrow. So the bone that lies under your eyebrows, and just follow it all the way out to the sides of your eyes, giving it a little massage. And then come into the very inner bits of your eyebrow bone, your eye socket, and start to, again, massage out the lower eye socket, the tops of that cheekbone, the cradle for your eyes. And you can do it in any way that feels good. And we'll do that one more time, starting with the space between our eyebrows, then moving out along the brow line, rubbing back and forth or in circles, whatever feels good. Then coming back to the space, the closest space between the eyes, and massaging out the bottom bone here. And as you go out, go all the way out to reach your temples and give that a little bit of a massage. And then following down to the creases on either side of your nose. Just press up a little bit to the edge of your cheekbone then. Just give that a little massage. And from there, try massaging your jaw. It's a place that we hold a lot of tension. Feeling all the little muscles in there that work hard all day. And then come out to your ears. And just start massaging your ears, the lobes, all around, and you might even just massage the whole ear between your thumb and your index finger. When you're ready and you're done with that, just let your hands come back to rest on your lap and take a few breaths. And just notice how you feel. And then you can start to maybe bring your head to one side. Roll it down towards the center if that feels good. Roll it to the other side. Just slow, gentle neck rolls to start to wake up your cervical spine. If it feels good to you, you can reach around with one arm. So I'm using my right arm. And use the fingers of your right hand to just gently massage the neck muscles, the muscles along the left side of the back of your neck. Just give those guys a little rub. Notice if that's a place that holds a lot of tension. And you can try the other side using your left fingers to just gently run across or up and down the neck muscles on the right side of the back of your neck. And just start to take any movement that allows you to wake up your neck and maybe your shoulders. So you can roll your shoulders front and back. You can start to move your arms or your elbows in any way that feels good in your body. Just play a little bit here. Just explore what feels good. Maybe the kind of movements you would take if you're waking up from a nap, and you can start to get your lower spine and belly into it, even your hips a little bit. Just notice these kind of long, stretching, reaching movements that feel good, as though you've woken up from a nap and you're just exploring the space around you, awakening from this deep slumber that is winter. And just finding where your body wants to move today, the kind of things it wants to do, what feels intuitively good in your body right now. And when you're ready, you can come up and we'll just take a few arches and curls of the spine, only as far as feels good. Just really gently warming it up today. And you can move along your breath. You can breathe out as you curl in and breathe in as you reach out, or you can do the reverse. You can take a full breath in and out to do each movement. Just notice the rhythm at which your body wants to move today, how far it feels good to move to wake it up. And try to move really just from the center of your torso. And notice if that feels different from what you were doing before in your pelvis or your low back. Take a few more gentle seated cat-cows here. And when you're ready, come back to a neutral seat. From here, we'll move onto our hands and knees into a tabletop position. And you can just go ahead and leave your bolster there if you want, or you can push it to one side. And we'll just, again, move a little bit into some deeper cat and cows here. Again, very gentle motions. Just noticing what feels good today. And if you want, you can start moving to the side. Again, here, just play a little bit. See what motions feel good in your body. You can stretch out your arms and legs in any formation. You can twist, you can curl. Just play a little bit as though you're a sea creature without gravity, waking up into the sunlight, stretching anything that feels good. And it doesn't have to be serious. It can be silly. Just have some fun with it. And when you've moved a little bit more and you're starting to feel a little bit more awake, go ahead and bring your bolster back to the center of your mat. And we're going to lie down on the bolster so that the bolster is supporting our pelvis and our lower abdomen. So you may need to make some adjustments to see what feels good and how that feels supportive in your body. But you want your hip creases to be able to bend. And you want to be supported so that when you lift your body off, you're not tipping or falling in either direction. You have a little bit of an even fulcrum point. And then from here, just lower all the way down. Let your arms stretch out. And we'll start to play with a little bit of Locust Pose, a little bit at a time. So to start, just lift your left arm up and lift your torso up as far as it needs to go, just to find some movement in your back body, just to lift your arm up. And when you're ready, set it down. And then lift your left arm up. Notice how your torso feels. Notice what's happening in your lower back and your sacrum. And when you're ready, you can lower that down. And then resting your head and your arms on the earth, just start to lift your left leg. It can be a little bit bent. It doesn't have to be straight. You can be very bent. It doesn't have to go very high. Just lift it to the point that feels comfortable without any strain or discomfort in your low back. If you feel any discomfort in your low back, just back off, let it go. And when you're done with your left leg, go ahead and lift your right leg up. Just noticing how that feels, especially in your low back, in your glute. Notice what's happening there. And just notice, does it feel good to turn it in or out? When you're done, set it down. So this exercise today, this entire class today, we really want to tune into our bodies. Sometimes we don't hear our bodies telling us what is intuitively right for them unless they're speaking really loudly or shouting at us. But today we want to tune in and see if we can hear the little whispers that our body might be communicating to us and honor what those whispers are telling us. We'll start again from the left side, but this time go ahead and lift both the left arm and the right leg up. Notice what's happening in your left hip, your left leg. Let it be relaxed. And notice, how high do you want to lift either your arm, your torso, your leg? At what point do you start to hear whispers or complaints from your body? So if you hear any of those, go ahead and back off, lower down. It's not about reaching a certain height. It's about hearing what your body's telling you in this position. When you're done with that side, let it go. And when you're ready, lift your left leg and your right arm. And notice how that feels. You could maybe compare it to the right or left side. Again, you can try turning your leg in or out and noticing what your naturally comfortable position is for your leg and your hip socket. And notice what's happening in your low back and how that feels, and only coming up to the point where it feels comfortable and good and supported. Not pushing past any areas where you start to get whispers. And when you're ready with that side, lower it down. And then when you're ready, we'll lift both the left leg and arm up. Again, moving slowly with awareness. Feeling what's working. Noticing if there are any whispers and making any alterations that you need to accommodate that so you don't feel any amount of discomfort. When you're ready with the left side, you can rest for a moment. And then lift your right arm and your right leg up off the earth. And you can keep the leg bent or straight. Again, only rising up to the extent that feels good in your low back, in your hips. Noticing what you're hearing from your body in this position. Playing with the turnout of your leg, with the angle and the bend of your leg, just finding where your body is comfortable in this position. And when you're ready, you can let that go. Once you've rested for a moment, go ahead and move the bolster out from underneath you and come down to all the way lying on your stomach with your arms out, the way that locust is usually taught. And then again, lift your left leg up and your left arm up and notice, where is this movement coming from? How does it feel? Lying on the floor. If there's any difference. And again, if there's any discomfort at any point, back off. And when you're ready and you're done with the left side, again, try what this feels like on the right side. Only rising up to the point that it's comfortable and noticing where the work in your body is happening. And when you're ready, go ahead and press back and find a seat at the back of your mat. Go ahead and bring the bolster back to the center of your mat, about halfway down your mat. And we're going to, using that information that we just learned from our bodies and where we're lifting up, where our body wants to be in space today, we're going to take some sun salutations. But we're going to be using the bolster so that when we lower down, we'll have the bolster supporting us exactly where it was in locust. And we'll try moving from plank into upward facing dog with the bolster. And just like we did in locust, this is an exploration. It's fun. It may not be fun, but it's intended to be playful. It's intended to be a place of exploration and curiosity. So don't feel that you need to make any specific shape. It doesn't need to look like any orientation of upward facing dog, except one that feels good in your body. So you may want to play around with where your legs are bent, how high you're lifting, where you're initiating that work, and just explore. So we'll do 5 rounds of sun salutations, and that will give you 5 opportunities to gently and playfully explore this new orientation, this new variation of upward facing dog and sun salutations. We'll also have the bolster at our feet so we can use it to support our hands when we come down into a forward fold. So slowly and gently making any movements that your body wants to make right now. Slowly make your way up to standing, very gently, exploring along the way. Any movements or stretching that your body wants to take. And when you're ready, go ahead and find a comfortable stance. So feet a comfortable distance apart, anywhere from together to a little more than hips distance, wherever your feet feel stable and turned out to any degree that feels natural and comfortable to you. This will be our Tadasana. I will cue some of the breath while we're doing this, but please feel free to take whichever breath you feel comfortable with. So Whether I say inhale or exhale, if you feel like that is intuitively different from what your body wants, please listen to your body and go ahead and move with the breath the way that feels comfortable and natural to you. Taking a moment to just find our stance here. And when you're ready, inhale your arms up and exhale, let them come to heart center. This is where we'll start our sun salutations. Inhale and reach your arms up. And exhale, slowly fold forward the hips, letting your hands rest on the bolster and your knees be as bent as they need to be. Inhale and lengthen your spine. Exhale, fold all the way forward. Inhale, walk your hands forward and step your feet back to find a plank position. And then lower all the way down to the bolster. On an inhale, rise and lift your chest in a way that you could almost pick your hands up off the ground and not going any further if you feel a whisper from your body that that's enough. Again, you can play with your knees bent here, with them straight. Notice that sensation. And when you're ready, lower down, press back up into plank, and step into a downward facing dog. The knees as bent as they need to be, and in that comfortable distance and rotation that we found in Tadasana. If your head can rest on the bolster, if that feels nice, go ahead and do that. Take a breath here and let it go. Inhale, step forward in one or more steps up to the bolster. Exhale, folding forward, letting your head be heavy. Inhale, reach all the way up like you're reaching for fruit on the tree. And exhale, let your hands come to heart center. We'll do another 4 rounds of slow, present, gentle sun salutations so you can notice and really feel what's happening in your lower back while you're doing them. Inhaling, reaching all the way up for that fruit. And folding forward, letting your hands rest on the bolster or the floor or the shins or anywhere that feels intuitively good. Lifting halfway up, lengthening your spine and folding forward, letting it drop and your head be heavy. Walk your hands forward, step your feet back into a plank, and lower your body down onto the bolster, letting your knees bend. Inhale into an upward facing dog as far as feels good on your low back. When you're ready, press back up to plank and push back into downward facing dog. Step your feet forward. Come into a forward fold. Slowly rise up, reach up for the fruit, and bring your hands to heart center. Reach all the way up for that tree. Fold forward, letting your hands rest and your neck drop. Lengthen your spine and let it drop again, letting your knees bend as much as they need to. Walk your hands forward, step your feet back into plank, and lower onto the bolster. Let your chest rise. Press back up into plank and back into downward facing dog. Walk your feet forward, coming into a forward fold. Rising up, reaching for the sky, and coming back with your hands to your heart. Reach your hands up and fold forward. Feel free to do this at your own pace. Lengthen your spine and let it fold forward again. Walk your hands forward, step your feet back into plank, lower down to the bolster. Let your chest rise only as far as you can before your body starts to whisper. And notice, how does this compare to your normal upward facing dog? When you're ready, press up to plank and back into downward facing dog, letting your head be heavy. Step forward and let your hands rest in a forward fold. Rise up gently, reach for the tree, and bring your hands back to heart center. Last round. Reach your arms up and fold forward, letting your hands rest. Lengthen your spine and fold forward again. Walk your hands forward, walk your feet back and lower down. Lift your chest. And this time, just press back to a child's pose. Using the bolster to find a child's pose that's just 10% more comfortable than you normally find it. You might put the bolster under your hips to find some support there. You might put it under your torso. If you find that your belly is often compressed in a child's pose, you can bring the bolster forward and let your hands, your arms, and your head rest on it to give you a bit more space. So again, you can play around with it, adjust it. And once you've found a version that's a little bit more comfortable than normal, just take a few breaths here. When you're ready, rise up. You can leave the bolster there, or you can move it to the side. And we'll come into a forearm plank where we're going to hold it. So we're just holding it for a minute, and you can do this with your knees on the floor or up. Just find your elbows underneath your shoulders, and your hands can be wherever they land, with your elbows under your shoulders. And when you're ready, we'll begin. Try to focus in this position on your anchor. What brings you into this moment? Maybe take 10 long, deep breaths with your Ujjayi breath constricting the back of your throat as you breathe in and out through your nose. listening to the sound of the ocean on each inhale and exhale. Just 2 more breaths. When you're ready, let your knees come to the earth. Bring the bolster back to where it was when we were lying on our stomach. And we'll take a cobra with the bolster. Let your legs flex at the hip and the knees. Bring the elbows underneath your shoulders. And then gently and slowly, only to the point that feels good, allow your chest to lift. Notice what's happening in your low back. Notice what's happening in your abdominals. Can you find a lengthening here without dumping into your low back? And when you're ready, just let it go. Press back. Maybe shake it out a little bit. And when you're ready, we'll come up into standing. So again, you can take slow movements. Feel out where your body is right now. Maybe take some long stretches. That was a lot of slow, controlled movements. Lots of interoception, paying attention to the little feelings in our body. So just any movements that feel good, and eventually bring you towards standing. And from here, we're going to take chair pose 3 ways. So we'll just do it 3 times, but we're going to take different feet positions in each chair. So we'll start off the way chair is usually taught, with your big toes or your knuckles together, your heels a little separate, your legs right together. Inhale and exhale, reach your arms up beside your ears. Bring your knees back so you can see your toes. And notice the angle of your upper body, the angle of your torso. What happens if you want to go deeper and keep your knees behind your toes? What has to happen to your body? Notice where the work is happening in your legs and your glutes. When you're ready, rise up and step out into your Tadasana, your natural foot position, any degree of turnout that you normally have. Something about, for this, we're going to try about hip distance apart. When you're ready, inhale. And exhale, coming into chair, bringing your arms up. And notice if your knees are behind your toes so you can see your toes, what's happening with the angle of your body? What happens if you want to go deeper? What happens if you want your torso to go up or down with your balance and your weight? Where is your body working right now? What's happening with your glutes and your thighs? When you're ready, inhale up, let that go. And now come out to your feet about mat distance apart. We'll take one more round from here. Inhaling and exhaling, sitting back as though you're sitting in a big comfy armchair. And notice, again, if you want to lower, what happens with your balance, what's happening with the angle of your back. Where's the work happening in your legs and your glutes? How does your low back feel? And when you're ready, rise up and come out. And just notice, if anything, the differences between how you felt in those different orientations for chair, if you had a preference. Just noticing and knowing that if you did have a preference, you can always do it that way moving forward. So come to the top of your mat. We're going to find a few more standing postures. Beginning in Tadasana. Just stepping your left foot back to find a crescent lunge with a tilted torso. So you have the same line from your head to the back of your left heel. That's all in one long line. Your arms can be along your side, or if you want, you can reach them forward so they're all in alignment there. Just take a couple breaths here. Noticing your low back, noticing if the body is telling you anything. And then from here, bring your arms back along your side. If that feels good, you can also bring them to your hips. Bring the weight into your right leg. Start to straighten that leg. And just play around with lifting the left leg up. You can leave your toes on the floor, or you can practice exploring what it's like to lift it. Maybe you come forward into Warrior 3. Again, you can have your hands alongside your body. You can reach them forward. And when you're ready, practicing if you're balanced, standing onto that right leg, and coming back into Tadasana. And then bringing the weight into your left leg, stepping back into a crescent lunge with your left leg forward and your torso tilted. Also call this airplane lunge or arrow or whatever you'd like to call it, whatever it reminds you of. And again, you can have your hands and arms in whatever position feels good. For more weight in that left foot, you can bring them up. Notice, make any adjustments you need to so that your low back is happy. If it's giving you any whispers, back off. And then bringing your arms back again or to your hips, start to bring the weight into that left foot, standing onto it. Just play around with what it might be like to lift the right foot up to any degree that you feel stable at today. And you can keep your arms alongside your body and reach them forward or bring them out to the side. And when you've had enough, stand up onto that left leg and come back into Tadasana. Before we come down onto the floor for our final poses. We're going to take a tree pose, and we're going to take a blooming tree. So start with your weight in your left foot and your right foot at any level of tree on your body that you want. So you can have it just on the ground. You could use your bolster and put that under your foot to support it. You could have it on your calf. You could have it up on your thigh. Just find what feels good in your body today. And our hands are going to come into closed little buds. All of our fingers touching together and gently curled into our bodies. And slowly, as they do with the warmth of spring, let those buds start to lift up and unfurl, like vines reaching for the sun. And then, one by one, maybe the petals on one hand start to open out, and in the other hand, those blossoms slowly unfurl to reach towards the sky and reach towards the sun and soak up all of that light and sunshine until you're a big, leafy, full tree. And then when you're ready, let your branches slowly come down to the earth. Bring your right foot down and find yourself back on the ground again. And taking it on the other side, moving the weight into your right foot, bringing your left foot into any kind of tree that you feel like today, that inherently feels good and stable. And then finding the hands in those curled up little buds. And as the days get longer and the sun is shining more and maybe the rain is falling, those buds start to find their way to the surface, slowly unfurling their curls, and then starting to let their petals unfurl, opening out, finding and following the sunlight until your whole tree is big and leafy and reaching towards the sky. And when you're ready, let your branches slowly reach back down to the earth. Find both feet on the ground. From here, go ahead and lower down to the earth. Whatever gentle way feels good, maybe finding some more stretches on your way down. Reaching out, curling, whatever feels nice to you. And then find your way all the way down to your back. Bring your knees towards the sky, and then you can lift your legs, your feet to the sky, and whatever orientation feels good, so they can be straight or flexed or bent. And we're just gonna take 10 breaths to bring our feet to the earth. For each breath coming down 1/10 of the way. And you can press your arms into the earth. keeping your low back on the ground. And we're about halfway there now. Keeping that low back pressed into the earth. And let your feet find the earth. Let them fall out. If it feels good, you can tuck your shoulder blades onto your back. And before we totally let go in Shavasana, come back to that space between your eyebrows. And just give that a little massage with your fingertips. And then start to work your way outwards along the bone of your brow, on your eyebrows, all the way out to the edge, maybe getting to your temples. And then from the inner eye, starting to massage out the bone of your cheekbone below your eye, the lower eye socket. Just rubbing gently in whatever way feels good. And then moving down to your jaw, massaging all the little muscles in your jaw, those big, round cheeks, muscles underneath your cheeks. And then moving back to your ears, maybe along the edges of your ears, to your lobes, and the whole ear maybe. Just finding a way that feels good to rub those ears out. And when you're ready, let your hands come down, your palms face up, and find any resting pose that feels good. You can support your knees with a bolster or your chest. You can come to your side. And once you find a comfortable resting place, just let everything go into the earth and absorb being here now. If you'd like to stay here longer, I really encourage you to please do so. If you'd like to reawaken gently with me, bring your thumb and first finger together and let your thumb just gently awaken the pads of each finger one at a time, reawakening your toes, your palms. If you like, maybe take a full body stretch so you gently reawaken your body, and then moving slowly, carefully, maybe coming to one side and gently raising yourself up and coming into a comfortable seat. And let your hands just rest wherever is comfortable. And take a few moments in this space, returning to your anchor, the breath, the smells around you, the sounds, the feeling of your body on the earth. When you're ready, go ahead and blink your eyes open if they're closed. Thank you so much for taking the time for yourself today to explore and connect with your body. I hope that you can enjoy some beautiful spring weather and enjoy awakening a little bit to the world as we get longer days and the flowers start blooming, and use that to reawaken your connection to yourself and to your body so that you can meet your needs. Thank you so much for practicing with me today.